Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Williams. I am the Associate Curator at the New Britain Museum of American Art, and I'm so very delighted to welcome you to our current exhibition, Someday is Now, Women, Art, and Social Change. The exhibition is part of the museum's major initiative entitled 2020 20 Plus Women at NBMAA, which launched in January of this year. The initiative seeks to address the disparity in the representation of women and artists of color in museums and the arts in general. And so throughout 2020, we have dedicated all of our special exhibitions, as well as permanent collection installations and acquisitions, to female identifying artists to really celebrate their contributions to the arts. So Colleen Smith is a contemporary artist who was trained as a filmmaker that has increasingly incorporated objects into her work. And she has frequently created banners as art that she then activates in public space as part of political protests or theatrical processions. And this is a piece called Sojourners, and it actually spells the phrase, and I'll take you through. At dawn, sit at the seat of action. At noon, be at the hand of might. And at eventide, be so big that sky will learn sky. This is a phrase by Alice Coltrane, who was a musician and a spiritual advisor. And this was a kind of spiritual revelation that she had, and also in a way, a call to action for women. And this was in the 1970s. And so Colleen Smith today is recapturing this phrase and placing it on these banners as a way to honor this woman from our past. And the work itself is titled Sojourner, in honor of women's activist Sojourner Truth. The remaining exhibition really looks at the multiplicity of issues that artists then continue to address in their efforts towards gaining women's rights and social justice. So those are just a few of the things that really informed the organization of this show. And so thinking about the graphic quality of these posters, the manner in which suffragists combined image and text, we're going to see a lot of that in this show. So when you come into the exhibition, beyond this introductory space, you're going to see works by women artists, 22 women artists, who also combine image and text to convey strong, powerful, inspirational messages of change. Let's take a look at McKiernan Gallery. I'm just going to pan the gallery to kind of orient you. So we come out of this introductory space, and in total, we have about 80 works, 80 sculptures, works on paper, paintings. All right, so there's quite a lot of work on view, and we'll only cover a small selection in this first gallery tour, but we'll be offering these walkthroughs regularly so that we can talk about hopefully all of the work in great depth over the course of the show. In her participation in pro-peace efforts was Yoko Ono, and you'll encounter a few of Yoko Ono's works throughout the show. One of her posters that was created in collaboration with her late husband, John Lennon, War is Over, is included in that gallery. As I mentioned, her Imagine Peace flag is installed in front of the building on our flagpole. And here in our Vance gallery, you'll see her really beautiful wish tree. All right, so we now leave the 70s and we enter Stitzer Gallery, which brings us to the 1980s. And a lot of artists who are who emerged in the 1980s and who are still very prominent today. So I just want to, again, sort of pan the space to orient you. And then we'll look a little bit more closely. So these are artists who emerged in the 1980s, sort of amid a technology boom, consumer boom, commercialist boom. Images are proliferating on the TV, on the internet, on video, on billboards. And so what many of the artists of the time are doing is they are sort of appropriating marketing strategies and utilizing those visual strategies in their own work. So as we saw with Corita Kent and with Annette Lemieux and some of the artists that we explored in the first gallery, these women artists are drawing from mass media, from popular culture, using advertising and marketing strategies to spread messages of social change, address inequalities, expose biases and prejudices in their work, often with humor, as we'll see. We're now at the final section of the exhibition, and you can see we transition in color, and every section in the show is sort of defined by a different color. And so in this last section, we are looking at work by contemporary artists, by Gen X or millennial artists, many of whom are first generation or second generation Americans. So they are considering questions of citizenship, the legacies of voting, issues that we face today from cross-cultural perspectives. And one thing that was very interesting about organizing the show in the past year was that it was originally slated to open in August of this past summer. And because of our closure due to COVID, we had to push back the show. But in addition to that, we also had time to have more extensive conversations with the artists and lenders. And as we were responding to this global pandemic and following the murder of George Floyd and the protests that arose in response to the racial violence, we were actually able to the show evolved to kind of reflect some of these issues in real time. So we were actually able to include works that addressed things that are happening right now. And so the hope is that you travel this exhibition, you see how artists responded to certain conditions of the time, how women were really trying to work for women's empowerment as well as social justice against the backdrop of the civil rights movement, Vietnam War, women's liberation, as well as all that we're facing in today's times, and really bring you back to the agency that you can practice to as a citizen to cast your ballot. And so the fact that this show happens concurrent to the election was completely accidental and a result of our COVID closure. But in the end, it allows us to be able to bring greater attention to our agency as citizens and how artists have brought attention to the importance of that through their work. So it's a big show, there's a lot of work, and we're really excited to share it all with you.